You might have noticed many of the NRL players this weekend playing with green tape or strapping on certain parts of their body, boots or jerseys. It's to mark the ongoing and now lengthy dispute with the NRL over the next collective bargaining agreement. Just as the cricketers have no guarantees they'll be employed in time for the Ashes, Australia's top rugby league players are no guarantee they'll be turning up in October's World Cup. Cronk is one of Australia's top league players, a veteran of the Melbourne Storm and Queensland State of Origin side, as well as a two-time Dally M Player of the Year and winner of Rugby League's World Golden Boot Award. Cooper, thanks for speaking to The Ticket. Where are things at the moment between the RLPA and the NRL?
Well, they're at a disappointing level in terms of the negotiations. The process has been dragging on for a fair while now. We believe there is a deal to be done now that Todd is at the table, and there's a couple of things that the players are making concessions for, so the negotiations can move forward. But we obviously want to avoid what's happened at the cricket. We don't want that situation to arise in rugby league, but that's not to say that the players aren't fully united and will consider those things, but won't don't want it to get to that stage.
The AFL negotiated a new deal relatively pain-free. We know the issues in cricket are quite toxic, and it would seem that in rugby league, the players are losing patience in trying to progress discussions. But there seems to be a big difference also, doesn't there, between the league and the other sports, in that no one is quite sure whether the NRL has the money that is being asked to share around. Yeah,
there needs to be some transparency and some authenticity when you're at the negotiating table, and we're understanding that what we're asking for is fair and reasonable and has the best interests of the game at heart. Because at the end of the game, if the game prospers, which the players are a massive part of, well then the players prosper. But if the players don't hold up their end of the bargain as well, then we will significantly go backwards in terms of what we can reward from the negotiations. So, it's a risk versus reward type scenario, but in terms of the ongoing negotiations, this is the first time in a long time that the Rugby League Players Association have representatives who are steadfast and we have complete and utter confidence in. First time in a long time our players are fully united, and our young guys are moving in behind our senior guys who are leading the charge. And it's probably the first time in a long time that the NRL have had to seriously take into consideration the contribution of the players, the value that the players bring, and therefore that needs to be shown in the negotiations.
How would you describe the level of trust between the Players Association and the NRL at the moment?
I'll put it politely, it's questionable. Look, there's no doubt in any negotiation there's going to be some robust conversations, and both parties want to have the best outcome for their individual objectives. But at the end of the day, rugby league needs to be the winner here, and we as a Players Association believe that we're buying into an agreement that is has the best interest of the game at heart. Now, the NRL obviously, Todd Greenberg's just come to the negotiating table, so that's made things take a little bit longer than they should have. But we're steadfast in our beliefs and in the direction that we are going. So as long as the negotiations now move at a rapid pace and are done with a lot of trust and authenticity and transparency, then I don't see the situation getting in a worse situation like the cricketers are at the moment. But in saying that, we still stand tall behind our representatives, believes in what they're doing, and we'll take alternative measures if need be, but we don't want to see that happen.
So, Cooper, can you explain what the significance is of the green tape during this weekend's round?
Yeah, so the significance of the green tape is a show of sport or solidarity for the whole playing group. There's been some talk around the Origin period, and you've had James Maloney and Cameron Smith come out and speak on the biggest platform, which is Origin, in relation to the RLPA situation. We've had guys do press conferences with RLPA hats on. You'll see through social media campaigns of individuals' social media profiles of, again, the RLPA symbol being shown. And this is the first time in a long time since the negotiations have taken a bit of twist that our players are all on the field on the one weekend. So the tape and the colour of the tape signifies the RLPA, and the united front means that all players will be wearing that. They can wear that on their jersey, they can wear that on their wristbands, they can wear that on their strapping tape, on their boots. But at the end of the day, it signifies that, we understand our value. We understand there is no game without the players, and we understand that our contribution needs to be respected not only in the CBA but also at the negotiating table. So that's just a sign of solidarity and a sign that we're here as one and continue to move in the right direction.
And yet we know that when we saw Cameron Smith and others with the RLPA caps on, there was some criticism from other sectors in the game. We also know that the RLPA phoned each of the coaches this week to explain the green tape scenario. I think Wayne Bennett at the Broncos seemed to be the only coach to have an issue with it. But I heard on Thursday night that the Penrith Panthers were taped up ready to go out onto the field when they got instructions from fairly high up in the organisation to take the green tape off. Were you surprised at that level of interference?
Look, it's obviously a little disappointing. My understanding that the Penrith boys had the tape on when we were asked to remove it just before they ran out. But obviously, Wayne Bennett's situation, he's, rules with an iron fist sometimes, but at no stage does that change a single thing in terms of, what the players are trying to do this weekend. Players are united no matter what setback. We are steadfast in what we believe in. We have the best interests of the game at heart. So that's a signifying that that's our intentions. It's disappointing that hierarchy at Penrith and the Brisbane Broncos, who I believe the RLPA have been in continuous conversation with and keeping them abreast of our situation. It's a little disappointing, but that doesn't change it. You'll still see guys like Cameron Smith, you'll see Michael Morgan at the Cowboys, you'll see the Parramatta Eels players, you'll see the Warriors guys, Paul Gallen wearing it. So there's a number of clubs and senior players that are playing this weekend, and Cameron Smith celebrating 350 games. There's only two other players in the history of the game that have achieved 350 games, and for Cameron wearing that special jersey tomorrow afternoon, he'll be wearing the same colours that everyone else who, there's probably some guys making their debut this weekend that'll do exactly the same thing.
If you couldn't come to some sort of negotiation on your own between the two parties and arbitration was recommended, where an independent person would say, OK, I'm going to hear both sides of the story and then I'm going to make a decision which will be binding on both sides. Pretty much what Cricket Australia says, they're going to suggest that cricket should be doing. Do you think the RLPA would go down that route? Yeah,
look, that's a very long time away, that sort of outcome. But in terms of our representatives, in terms of the players, we don't think it'll get to that. With Todd coming to the table now, that will speed up these negotiations and conversations. Look, if those things do occur, it's going to be disappointing. And I can assure you it won't be because of the players and our representatives letting down those conversations and those negotiations. It'll be because of some other interference. And, from my point of view, as a member of the RLPA and everything like that, I can guarantee you that we'll be doing our best interest to get this resolved as quickly as possible, but we won't be standing down from our beliefs.
Cooper Cronk, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you kindly.